promised, I said that I was going to be delving into the Tenant Protection Act of 2019, aka rent control law, a little bit more. My name is Adrienne Harrell and I'm with Newbridge Management. I get asked all the time, how does this rent control law affect me? So let me start by telling you who it does not impact and who it does not affect. If you are a single property owner, meaning that you have one investment property, this law does not impact you. Certain parts of it do, but the rent control portion does not impact you. And if you own a condominium, this law doesn't impact you. And if you own a multifamily property, which is less than 15 years old, this law does not impact you either. And one final person that I'm going to say that it doesn't impact is the individual that owns a duplex where the owner lives on one side and the tenant on the other side. You people can just take a sigh of relief. This law doesn't impact you on the rent control side. We are going to be talking about just cause in a different video and a different blog, so I encourage you to come back, but that is a topic for a different blog. Now that we've talked about the properties that are not impacted, I just want to talk a little bit more about the 15-year multifamily, and that is a rolling 15-year impact, meaning that if your property was built 15 years ago, then up until the time that the property is 14 years old, you are not impacted by rent control. So if the property was built 10 years ago, you have 5 years where the rent control cap will not impact you. But after the 5 years, because if you watched our previous blog, you know that this law is going to be into effect until January 1, 2030. It's a 10-year law that will sunset. But so in 5 years from now, the property that will then be 15 years old will be impacted by rent control. Having said that, I know that throughout the state, rent control cap is at 5% plus the consumer price index. Now, a lot of people ask, where do I find what the consumer price index is? Now, the consumer price index is a regional index that you're going to be looking at, not for the national index. So please make sure that you pay attention and you look for your regional index. I will tell you that for Stanislaus, San Joaquin, and Merced counties, because they are smaller counties and we don't have a regional one, we do look to Sacramento, and our price index is at 3.34%. So for all intents and purposes, you could effectively increase the rent up to 8.34%. But who wants to do the math on 0.34%? Just round it up to 8% and you will be safe, and your tenants won't feel like that they're being gouged. The other thing that I want to make sure that I impress upon you is the fact that if you had rent increases in all of 2019 in anticipation of this law going into effect, I have some bad news for you. And the bad news is that you have to roll back the rents as of January 1, 2020 to what they were on March 15th, 2019. I would highly recommend that you take a look at that and roll back your rents. Otherwise, some significant impacts could affect you negatively in the long run. One last piece of advice that I will give, and that you have to make sure that whether the Tenant Protection Act impacts you or if it does not, is the notification to the tenants. You have to notify the tenants whether the property is being impacted by the rent control law or if it is not. That notification has to go in place. So I would recommend that you either create an addendum and provide that information to your tenants, or have them sign a new lease. And if you are going to have a new lease signed, they have that the notification has to be as part of the lease. So if you have any other questions regarding the rent cap control laws, don't hesitate to give us a call or contact us through our website at newbridgemanagement.com.